亲爱的各位，平安。在下是时代精神运动的支持者。时代精神运动是一个不分国家、宗教、政治的全球性社会运动，并致力于解决战争、贫困、环境破坏等等各种社会问题。主旨是透过科学方法的实现应用，来达到地球的永续性。但现在，我不是要宣传这个运动，或者是请你加入。正在观看这部影片的各位，不管你有没有看过《时代精神》这部纪录片，不管你支不支持这个运动，我相信关心并改变发生在世界上的不幸和苦难，是地球上的每个人民都有责任的。美国一位科学家雅各·法斯科在访谈影片中提到，对于世界，其实我们已经没有太多时间。我们对海洋和环境的损害已经到了非常严重的程度，战争、经济萧条、饥荒、贫穷、疾病遍布全世界。我们的地球资源、人心不断的衰落、腐败，娱乐和物质享乐正不断夺走我们的理智。从以前到现在，不管是甘地、马丁·路德·金或罗莎·帕克斯，世界上有很多人不断的努力，他们的一生都致力于实现这个世界的公平、正义和自由，提醒人们这不只是口号而已，而是真正的理想与愿景。所以，如果你什么都没有看到，如果对这个世界正面临的灾难你依然一无所知，那我会建议你就这么继续平凡的过日子，继续作为金融体系的奴隶，继续用虚荣的娱乐和物质享乐来填满你的生活。但是，如果你见到我所见的，如果你感受到我所感受的，如果你要追求我所追求的，那么请你务必开始改变世界的行动。如果你是一个学生，看见学校霸凌，请不要害怕，帮助他，别白费了你看《海贼王》的热情。这部漫画要教你的就是正义。如果你是位农夫，请开始爱护大自然，停止使用化学的农药、肥料。如果你很喜欢吃肉，请多吃蔬菜，因为人类为了驯养大量的牲畜，已经耗掉很多的自然资源。如果你家附近有海滩，请自动自发或找一些朋友做个净滩活动。如果你看见社会新闻愤恨不平，请用行动表达你的正义，别只是拿来当作话题，随着新闻播出后，隔天就遭到人们的遗忘。如果你感受到社会的冷漠，请用行动、热情温暖那些需要帮助的人。如果你是时代精神的支持者，别只是坐在电脑面前，请发起活动或上街宣传，像我一样环岛宣传，向你周遭的人宣传。各位，请相信你自己的行动，因为美好并不会无故显现，除非我们在内在中发现美好。我们要创造美好，而且是真正的公平、正义、自由的世界。所以请别什么都不做，不要只是信仰或是信念而已，信念要付诸行动，才能真正改变这个世界。
Imagine that you wake up in a place that you've never visited before. Strange colours, strange shapes, everything reacts somehow. Where are you? Is it a government experiment? Are you in space? Abducted by aliens? Is it something mystical? Divine? Are you dreaming? Could this be a virtual reality? Where are you? Whatever you conceive about your situation is an extrapolation from the environment in which you grew up. You cannot conceive more than that. Whatever you hear, whatever you see, TV, religion, science, friends, movies, family, etc., will provide the answer for your situation. You associate with what you already know, and thus we have discovered something extraordinary. The environment defines you. Therefore, we will try something nobody has tried before, to analyse the current environment and see if our perception about the world is based on something real.
And the nurse says, I want a healthy body. I said, what do you want it for? You're just healthy, so what? I'd rather have a healthy mind and a warped body.
Realize that the iron from that meteorite and the iron from your blood has common origin in the core of a star. Tell me what part of my brain is lighting up, because that excites me. That makes me want to grab people in the street and say, have you heard this?
There are not yet obvious signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. This makes us wonder whether civilizations like ours rush inevitably headlong to self-destruction. I dream about it, and sometimes they're bad dreams.
Like any crazy idea. I don't know, it's hard to make up a very crazy one thing. Witches or something like that, and you tell about what people used to believe in witches, and of course nobody believes in witches now, and you say, how could they believe in witches? Then you turn around and you say, let's see, what witches do we believe in though?
Large brain, making tools. Make tools, large brain, make better tools. Talk, have to link language. You take this, put in here. We learned language, the brain got bigger, language. We grew, we had great gifts, and we gave it up, all up for both man, for both money and God.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride?
What we are trying during all these discussions and talks here is to see if we cannot radically bring about a transformation of the mind. Not accept things as they are. Nor revolt against it. Revolt doesn't answer a thing. But to understand it, to go into it, to examine it, give your heart and your mind with everything that you have to find out.
when we physicists look in outer space for alien life, we don't look for little green men. We look for type 1, type 2, and type 3 civilizations. A type 1 civilization has harnessed planetary power. They control earthquakes, the weather, volcanoes. They have cities on the ocean. Anything planetary, they control. That's type 1. A type 2 civilization is stellar. They've exhausted the power of a planet, and they get their energy directly from their mother star. They just don't get a suntan on a weekend. They use solar flares. They use the power of the sun itself to energize their huge machines. Eventually, they exhaust the power of a star, and they go galactic. They harness the power of billions of stars within a galaxy. Now, what are we on this scale? We are type 0. We don't even rate on this scale. We get our energy from, not from stars or galaxies, we get our energy from dead plants, oil and coal. Now, every time I read the newspaper, I see evidence of this historic transition from type 0 to type 1. And I am privileged to be alive in the most important era in the history of the human race, the transition from type 0 to type 1. I read the newspaper and I see evidence of this everywhere. And so this transition is perhaps the most important transition of all time. Some people don't want it. They fear this transition because this transition is to a planetary civilization tolerant of many cultures. This transition is also the most important because it's not clear if we're going to make it. When we look at outer space, we see no evidence of type 1, 2, or 3 anywhere. No evidence whatsoever. The mathematics say that there should be thousands of type 1, 2, and 3 civilizations in the galaxy. We see no evidence of any whatsoever. And why is that? Because the transition from type 0 to type 1 is the most dangerous of all transitions. We may not make it. It's a race against time.
If you're lucky to have an eye, look up at the night sky. You won't see much in a bright city, so head out to where it's less busy. On a clear night, the dark sky will shine light. The universe is full of wonder. There's so many stars to ponder. It's a never-ending mystery. Science keeps rewriting history. A big leap started with the telescope. It gave rise to understanding and hope. Distant worlds keep being discovered. Galaxies, stars, and nebulas are uncovered. Look into black holes, quarks, and dark matter. It might make you question what really matters. There's so much to explore. Curiosity will always lead us to more. We live in a vast cosmic arena, filled with balls of spinning ballerinas. We are one amongst trillions, a little dot with us human civilians. Yet we are made of the same elements. Stardust is in every earthly resident. So don't worry too much about the self, as you are the universe itself. Once upon a time, there was a planet called Earth, a blue marble where life had given birth. It had bacteria, whales, and bees, ants, dinosaurs, and monkeys. It had such a diversity of species until it became the land of human entities. Humans were two-legged apes with nifty fingers. They walked upright and were oxygen breathers. Not long after they evolved, the planet had transformed. They filled it with cities, agriculture, and waste. Most other animals were captivated or erased. Their population grew exponentially, so did their abilities technologically. They discovered that the earth was a globe, but they remained divided with colorful robes. They had emperors, queens, and gods. They had rockets, computers, and jobs. Their biggest threat was themselves. They fought over resources and wealth. They never stopped killing each other. There was always an imbalance in power. They had an abundance of food and stuff, but somehow most humans never had enough. Everything they did was traded and sold. Very little was free, and very few were bold. They did leave some traces, but not much remains over the ages. Even a human knows everything comes and goes. Good morning, London, New York, or Shanghai. Today's another day of hustling with prices sky high. Welcome to the cities of trade, where whatever you do involves someone getting paid. Nothing here exists without a price, so don't fool yourself with people being nice. It's a place where all human life is valued by the hour. It's a place where most are poor and a few have power. It's a place where the air is polluted. It's a place where resources are far from equally distributed. It's a place where it's very difficult to care. It's a place so busy that there are people everywhere. There's barely any nature in such a place, only endless concrete and ads shoved in your face. Forget about getting things for free. There are no handouts in the game of Monopoly. Whether you need to get from A to B, you'll be forced to pay a fee. Whether you're in need for some food, you better have money to spend, or else you're doomed. Or whether you need a place to stay, never forget that you always have to pay. So everyone's tense and stressed out. Trading money, data, and time is what it's all about. You better start rushing to school or work. This isn't playtime, people, so wipe off that smirk. Only serious business is permitted, so pull yourself together and become corporately committed. If you do so, you can then start spending and become a part of those pretending that they're doing something that's helping others. But really, the very act of trading prevents humans from accessing today's abundant goods and services that they need and want. So keep on hustling and ignore all those that are begging, because this trade game that we are playing doesn't seem to be ending. Welcome to a world of dreams and escaping poverty. Don't forget to buy your weekly ticket to the lottery. If you play, you might cruise away in a new yacht. If you play, you might win the Mega Millions jackpot. You will probably take your chances, as you know you're fucked by your circumstances. Like always, you will lose, but lucky for you, there are endless avenues. So you're headed to the casino, still dreaming about that island in Puerto Rico. You'll order a drink, then roll the dice. In your mind, you're about to board the yacht to paradise. You'll keep playing the game, but the outcome will remain the same. The house always wins. The money always flows to the kingpins. Your reality remains a life of struggle, unable to escape the everyday hustle, trying to solve the trade game's unsolvable puzzle. Maybe you shouldn't gamble. Maybe you should just work harder and lead by example. Maybe you should just accept your reality. Maybe you should save that lottery money. Or maybe you can find something worth pursuing. Maybe you can get rich by doing something you like doing. Sadly, here's what most likely will happen. You'll slowly forget about your passion. You'll be forced to sell yourself for money or some corporation. You'll become a part of some trade-based exploitation. You might get lucky and start making some dough, but you'll still keep gambling as you'll be stuck in this show. Whether it is betting, the lottery, and the casino, or whether it is stocks, social credits, and crypto, there is no way of winning in this game, because even if you make it, you'll be corrupted by more money, power, and fame. Instead of a trade game where human hopes are reduced to gambling, let's make things trade-free to allow human lives to be much more exciting. Welcome to planet Earth. Beware of where it is you give birth. Different places are controlled by different tribes, and these different tribes have very different lives. Some are very poor, whilst others are very rich, and it's usually pretty obvious to tell which is which. Some cultures are more open and others more closed. Some cover their skin and others are more exposed. Some force you to go to war. Others don't even lock their door. In some places you can hide in the multicultural crowd. In others, your skin color is pretty loud. The value of your life often depends on your passport. Hence, not all nationalities are welcome in all airports. It doesn't matter if you are a human. Some countries only accept people from the European Union. So get in line and apply for a visa, as your odds aren't too good if you're from Tunisia. In the meantime, you better start adapting, as most locals aren't very culturally understanding. Of course, these aren't really issues if you're rich. Money makes continents and countries much easier to switch. The world we live in is quite bizarre. It's your ID card that matters, and not the human you are. So let's build more borders and walls to separate shopping malls from other shopping malls. You are not a human on planet Earth orbiting a star in space. You are within the borders of some tribe called Denmark and must integrate in this place. Let me repeat, this isn't a planet. This is Germany. No, Mexico. No, this is the United States of America. God damn it. The ugliness of beauty. What is beautiful to you doesn't automatically make it beautiful for others too. Your personal experiences and cultural background determine your conditioned view. From 12-inch waists to higher foreheads to elongated necks, female beauty is continuously changing and subjectively defined, so there will always be new looks and trends that pop up next. And so it goes for men, from bodybuilders to wigs to high heels to all kind of other deviations you may even consider surreal. This means that beauty is relative, culturally subjective, a completely abstract matter of perspective. It might help to think about what a born blind person might consider beautiful. It would most likely be less visual and far more tactile and acoustical. However, whether it is tall, short, loud, quiet, obese, skinny, bold, hairy, black, tan, or white, human attraction is so diverse that it's impossible to say this is wrong or right, except for yourself, your own culturally shaped appetite. Fashion, looks, even music, paintings, and architecture change year after year and from place to place, so don't worry too much about what other people are taught to think about the structure of your face. But we all know that's not easy, with all the advertisement designed to make the average person feel insufficient and insecure, just so the cosmetics industry can make billions of dollars selling more makeup, Botox, and all kind of surgery as the well-marketed cure. Know that whenever you deal with people's opinions, like with what's ugly or pretty, you're really dealing with learned and continuously changing positions. To quote Jacques Fresco, if you marry a woman who you think is very beautiful and she ends up being cruel to you, that face becomes ugly, so your perspective keeps altering based on whatever you run into. So as beauty and ugliness are temporally and culturally relative notions, then perhaps we should stop dividing people on who's subjectively prettier, but rather try to move beyond anatomical comparing and focus a little less on the physical exterior. Everything I've said is not intended to diminish or insult anyone. All I'm saying is that the relativity of beauty concerns everyone, and that a better understanding of it could perhaps create a less comparative world, one by one. To understand more, please read the Traum book, The Ugliness of Beauty, on traumsite.com. Also, if you want to see more trade-free content and help this project grow, please support us on traumsite.com/donate. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love. Welcome to the game of Monopoly. Pick your piece and place it in this trade-based economy. The goal of the game is to win, get the most money, land, and properties. So let's begin. Roll the dice and play your luck. Also watch out that nobody steals a buck. Around and around you will go until you can't afford it anymore, as someone will own nearly every piece of land, and only rarely will you get a helping hand. But those few pennies you might get will anyway flow back to those who own your debt. Occasionally, a fellow survivor may break through, yet in order to make it, he'll still have to screw you. It might be safer to hide out in jail, as you can't compete with those massive whales. Everyone's so focused on trying to survive, no longer caring about those who can't stay alive. Conflicts, alliances, and deaths will occur. They'll be stealing and arguing for sure. The game may seem so real, but never forget that it is just a spiel. After everything is over, and you are the board's owner, it all goes back inside the box. All your properties, money, and stocks. It was all imaginary. Only the game made you think it was necessary. Maybe it's time we start rethinking the board. Maybe there are better games left unexplored. If you want to understand the real trade game that we all play, then start reading the Traum book, The Origin of Most Problems, today. On a final note, here's an interesting quote. Universal basic income is like the end of Monopoly when the guy that's won starts giving you money so you'll keep playing and he can keep taking it. To understand more about today's Monopoly game, please visit traumsite.com. Also, if you want to see more trade-free content and help this project grow, please support us on traumsite.com/donate. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love.
Between Kevin and the lucky lottery winners in the card section.
The trade world we live in can be a very lonely place. Cities seem to have isolated humans into concrete buildings with very little space. Spaces where most don't even know their next-door neighbors, as the cold world we live in makes people fear strangers. So instead of going out and connecting with others, Most stay inside and are glued to screens with hypnotizing colors. But even outside, the bright colors follow people wherever they go, submerging human minds into small and mega screens that glow. The economic game we play has taken us far away from community and companionship. That's partially because our system reinforces competitive behavior rather than unity and friendship. It's no wonder why so many of us feel so alone, as we have a self-centered culture that pushes everybody into their own little zone. A zone where many are forced to numb themselves with substances to deal with the pain. A pain caused by lost connections and ultimately an obsolete trade game. A game that is based upon conflict and division, separating people into race, nationality, sex, and religion. A life of loneliness is nobody's fault or responsibility. Our capitalistic culture makes it an epidemic inevitability. Today's predatory structure fosters these emotions of fear, paranoia, and depression. We must realize that our socio-economic system sadly does not promote human understanding and connection. At the end of the day, humans are social animals. We need each other just as much as our fellow mammals. We need to create a system that makes people want to feel like they belong and can contribute to the betterment of the world, and not one where people compete and isolate themselves in an egocentric game of who's going to take over the world. In the words of Jacques Fresco, there's no way for you to make it on your own. Either we think globally or we perish individually. In other words, the increasing severity of loneliness will remain another symptom of today's trade-based society until we create new structures that incentivize humans to work collectively. To understand more about the cause of most of our problems today, please check out TromSite.com. Also, if you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on TromSite.com/donate. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love. We live in a world with Instagram pics of bodybuilders, boobs, and butts. Billions are so hypnotized that they as well want to become such social media sluts. People are losing themselves in this digital world of self-obsession and vanity. More comments, likes, views, and followers reinforce people to further this artificiality. It glues millions of people to their devices, submerging their minds and values into those celebrities our culture aggrandizes. It seems like the dumber and more self-centered you are, the greater your chances of becoming such a social media star. Feeding people hypersexualized bodies and absurd levels of wealth is bound to threaten everyone's mental health. Feelings of arrogance and insufficiency are reinforced so strongly, making so many think that they are not good enough and a few think that they are godly. But what can you expect in today's world of cold-hearted capitalism? It is the system we live in and hence the structure of these platforms that breeds this narcissism. Whether Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter, most post mind-numbing content just in order to become bigger and bigger. Because the bigger you get, the more money you will net. Yet, the more fake you will become, selling yourself for products and higher income. It's all about themselves, their hair, eyebrows, muscles, jawline, ass, and face. Rarely about others or the problems we face as a human race. And if it is, it's with no structural understanding of today's trade game. Instead, their patchwork activism only addresses the symptoms with the intent of gaining more fame. Some of these models even travel the world to sell their skin and lifestyle, distracting so many to consume more with their big, superficial smile. We've created a culture where people's sense of worth is linked to their popularity online. Maybe it's time we question this absurdity and realize that our values and culture are in dire need for redesign. To understand more about a trade-free world beyond social media prostitutes, please check out Zeit, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Also, if you want to see more Trump content and help this project grow, please support us on trumpsite.com/donate. Thanks for listening, guys. And as always, much love. I don't believe we humans can continue on this planet with capitalism, socialism, communism, fascism, or whatever other ism you can think of that only operates within the confines of today's outdated trade system. I believe in a new way of thinking, in alignment with change, science, and sustainability, in alignment with the concept and causality of structuralism. If you want to focus on planetary improvement, then maybe stop consuming brainless media and instead read the New Human Rights Movement. The book is dedicated to the unpersons, those who embody the evidence of our grand social failures. And the wisdom gathered in it shows how building a new, sustainable social model could radically improve human relations and behavior. The author Peter Joseph shows that most social activist organizations only protest and fight against symptoms of the real issue. Symptoms like war, poverty, inequality, crime, violence, and corruption that actually are all caused outcomes of today's market structure from a systemic point of view. To the market, these problems are simply labeled as a negative externality, despite there being much better ways to distribute and share the planet's resources that does not excuse and threaten billions of people's reality. One also learns that our problems will not be solved by rich people's vanity-driven philanthropy. Their donations keep increasing, yet interestingly enough, so does global inequality, on top of the fact that they are extremely unlikely to question the very structure that rewarded them all their notoriety. Studies clearly show that the richer you get, the less you proportionately give. Maybe that's because millionaires and billionaires become so out of touch with how the average human lives. Peter exemplifies in the book how our mental health, physical well-being, and social inclusion worsen in a society with higher inequality. The economic system around us really dictates the extent of a population's relative and absolute poverty. All this makes me understand that today's free market is anything but free. It only serves and benefits those with the most economic leverage. It even reinforces companies to control and sell water as an artificially scarce beverage. We must stop looking at things as self-imposed or fixed. Everything, including our own behavior, is simply a link in an endless chain subject to the surrounding matrix. Our human rights must be integrated into the very structure of the social model. Otherwise, they will never be realized regardless of what is judicially lawful. The fact that murder is illegal doesn't stop humans from being lethal. It is the forces of society and one's environment that determines the behavior of people. The same goes for trying to achieve sustainability in an unsustainable system. It's structurally impossible without redesigning the entire socio-economic model that in turn would change incentives and ultimately the human condition. In order to do so, we must experiment and use the scientific method to upgrade society. If you haven't already, please look into the proposals of a new trade-free world. Automation, access, open source, localization, and networked digital feedback are 5 very important steps towards such an abundant future, enlightened by Peter, a smooth-talking human whose work is a great inspiration for how to bring about real structural change. To understand more, please read or listen to The New Human Rights Movement by Peter Joseph. Also, please check out Tromsite, The Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. And if you haven't already, watch Peter's Zeitgeist trilogy documentaries, the Culture in Decline series, and stay on the lookout for the new Interreflection film series. Thanks for listening, and as always, much love.
99% of human society existed without money and markets. A lot of people forget that too. So this isn't some inevitability of the way we live. What is the silver bullet that can possibly transform this negative trajectory that we're on? And that is structural change of the economy. Morality is not going to do it. Our free will is not going to do it. Our rational sense is not going to do it in and of itself, because we are so inhibited and dominated by the structural psychology generated from our social system.
Also, if you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on tromsite.com/donate. Most movies, music, media, and people in so-called developed societies reinforce you to drink rather than to critically question and think. The harmful use of alcohol results in the death of around 3 million people annually. Some overdose at once, whilst others kill themselves drinking it gradually. It also causes illness, injury, and emotional damage to millions more. Yet most people continue to drink excessively without really asking themselves the question, what for? Instead, so many people's main motivation is to get absolutely wasted, suppressing real life for a temporary high that a day later will make them feel devastated. Some of them even go deaf because today's techno clubs are so loud, yet most don't care, as that's the attitude generated by a drugged up and hypnotized crowd. Alcohol impairs rational decision-making and is related to 6% of all deaths. But that doesn't itch today's rave culture where people are conditioned to drink booze to show off their wealth. It seems like social interactions are increasingly packed with insecurity, distance, and fear. Maybe that's one of the reasons why so many people have to drink so much beer. In other words, maybe alcohol helps people deal with all the anxiety structurally induced by our modern lives in today's concrete, cold, and unsocial society. Or maybe the liquor industry is marketing all it can to boost alcohol sales from Monday to Friday and throughout the weekend, seducing people to spend, lend, and bend in the face of humanity's potentially quite shallow and intoxicated end. Alcohol has become so embedded in Western traditions that it has become a cultural substance of addiction. Hence, peer pressure is a big thing, as people tend to do what is socially reinforced by their immediate surroundings. Alcohol can of course be relieving, exciting, and extremely funny, but ultimately we must look at it for what it really is, a massively promoted toxic substance that makes a few people a whole lot of money. It's funny how alcohol is so widely accepted as it kills so many people, yet something like cannabis that doesn't kill anyone is still in so many places around the world illegal. Our values seem twisted. Instead of a culture that reinforces health, curiosity, and social inclusion, we have one that pushes emotional and physical suppression through alcohol, which if you don't consume, will separate you from many members of today's modern Western society. I am not saying that one should never drink alcohol, or that it is terrible for all. I enjoy a drink here and there as well at times, but what I am saying is that having a social structure that fetishizes and pressurizes so many people to misuse such an intoxicating substance is deadly, unacceptable, and needs to be changed. There's so much more to life than to get completely wasted every weekend or to overdose on some substance. To understand more, please check out how Iceland has significantly reduced the abuse of substances and alcohol over the past decades through fun activities, education, and sports. Also, check out the work of Gabor Mate and his work on addiction, showing how a person's background, circumstances, and the degree of abuse they have endured in life are major contributors as to why people get hooked on substances, thus challenging what most people would think about alcoholics. A new socioeconomic structure that boosts public health, education, and solidarity with one another, together with exciting adventures and experiences, can surpass this issue and most others we face today. To understand more about such a trade-free system, please check out Zeit, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Thanks for listening, and much love. Also, if you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on tromsite.com/donate. History teaches us that emperors, kings, and elites have used their powerful tentacles to distract us with many different forms of public spectacles. Societies have pushed competitive sports for millenniums. Today, instead of building hospitals, infrastructure, or schools, the rich and many governments decide to build massive stadiums. Rather than educating people to explore nature and be critically inquisitive, we distract billions by reinforcing them to be aggressively competitive. Today we are approaching total ecological downfall, yet it seems like most people are occupied drinking alcohol, moving from mall to mall, and watching games involving grown men playing with a ball. To me, competitive sports, like most of today's established institutions, is insane. It is designed to occupy the ignorant brain with meaningless fame and an even more meaningless name, so people won't start questioning whether there are alternatives to today's obsolete monetary game, filled with suffering and mass-manipulated people where so many seem to be the same. The world of football, soccer, racing, fighting, and all other institutionalized and rivalrous sports are like religion. It keeps people oblivious, busy, and apathetic to the problems and solutions to today's outdated trade system. The same show repeats itself every season. Pride, hate, and mental damage are the outcomes of such commercialized physical activities that breed obedience and division. Established sports have their own priests, gods, worshippers, events, weekly rituals, churches, and rules. The parallels are extensively evident between being a fan of Liverpool or, respectively, the Catholic school. Dividing yourself and even perhaps despising others for belonging to a certain group is part of the entire charade. They generate loyalty and fanatic tribalism, essential for the players and owners to get paid. And paid they are in the millions and billions to occupy the brains of the poor and the lower class civilians. Just look at the corruption and social disregard of the World Cups in South Africa or Brazil. The health and needs of the people don't matter. It's entertainment and making money, like always, that becomes the drill. Being fit, functional, and healthy does not have to be tied in with grand events and competitions. It is only today's economic system that financially aggrandizes these games, whilst many teachers, nurses, police, electricians, and so on live under poverty-stricken conditions. What we praise and reward within today's neoliberal capitalistic society seems backwards and requires radical structural change if we wish to have an educated public capable of critical thinking and collaboration on a global scale. We must change the incentives in order to change the behavioral outcome. And in order to change incentives, it clearly seems as though we must change the very foundation of our socio-economic system into a post-scarcity and post-trade world where people do what they want to do not because of financial gain, but because of genuine curiosity and passion. To understand more about such a trade-free system, please check out Zeit, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Thanks for listening, guys, and much love. Also, if you want to see more Trump content and help this project grow, please support us on trumpsite.com/donate. If only I had $1 million, if only I would be remembered in history by famous scholars.
If only I could eat. If only I could find a way to get up off these streets.
If only I had 6 different Ferraris, if only I'd look like those on the TV and have a perfect body.
If only I could walk. If only I could afford the technology to hear other people talk.
If only I had the world's biggest and sickest house. If only I was dating 10 different women besides the world's hottest spouse.
If only I was no longer homeless. If only the world wouldn't make me so hopeless.
If only I had the latest phone, car, and clothes. If only I was invited to Hollywood's most popular shows.
If only I could afford proper medical care. If only I could live in a community that's somewhat fair.
If only I had that watch, suit, and those new shoes. If only I could afford to buy everything and everyone I choose.
If only I had clean water. If only I could provide the necessities of life to my son and daughter.
If only I was super famous. If only I'd win the Mega Millions jackpot in Vegas.
If only I could stop my addiction. If only society would help me out rather than punish me with a conviction.
If only I was promoted and then promoted again until I reached the top. If only my financial success would never ever stop.
If only I had the courage to quit my job. If only I could live a life where I love what I do and not feel like my life's being robbed.
If only I had unlimited political power. If only I owned and built the tallest tower.
If only I could go home from this meaningless war. If only I could live in a world without nations and the threat of being poor.
If only I'd control all the planet's oil. If only I could keep making endless money regardless if the earth begins to boil.
If only I wasn't under all this financial and family pressure. If only I could escape this corporate and cultural madness and live a life of adventure.
If only I was the most powerful player in this possessive trade game. If only I had the most fanatic followers and was the epitome of fame.
If only we recognize that technology with social concern can make everyone have more than enough food, water, stuff, and space. If only we could engineer a world where humans live as one family, one unit, one race.
If only. To understand more, please look into Zeit, the Zeitgeist movement, and the Venus Project. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love. Also, if you want to see more Trump content and help this project grow, please support us on trumpsite.com/donate. Humans killing other humans on a mass scale has always been a part of humanity's quite brutal tale. From hands to stones, to knives, to guns, to atomic bombs, and so forth, the destructive power of humans now threatens all life on planet Earth. The reality of war is very foreign for some, yet extremely real for others. Just imagine the complete destruction and loss of your home, culture, childhood, friends, sisters, and brothers. Sadly, the free market has no consideration for how that would feel. Instead, it reinforces the rich to profit off another billion-dollar arms deal. Far over 100 million people have been killed in the wars of the 20th century alone. It really is the most primitive and brutal waste of lives, resources, and time humanity has ever known. Some estimates for the total number of humans killed in all wars in history goes up to 1 billion people. And until this day, so much is still invested into making drones, battleships, tanks, and all kinds of military equipment more and more lethal. Currently, we also have more than 100 million soldiers worldwide. The task of these people is not to protect the human race from another species, but instead it is to fight and kill other humans with dividing beliefs of national pride. Many believe being a soldier is a very honorable thing. That seems like a highly subservient point of view, as it's always the poor who die in battle and never the king. To me, real honor has to do with unity, understanding, and non-violently refusing. We must shift our attitude from one of fear and aggression to one of courage and compassion before we all end up losing. Just like those who lost their lives in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Nazi Germany, Rwanda, Armenia, Russia, Iraq, and the list would never end. We have to start understanding who benefits and why we have war if we truly wish to change and transcend. Sadly, the causes of war are still not properly presented in today's average history class, as most books don't touch upon false flag operations, the military-industrial complex, and the upper banking class. Students need to learn that the mess in the Middle East is not an error. It is a highly profitable situation where big oil companies, arms dealers, and banks make insanely high amounts of money off manufactured terror. They also need to learn that there is a big difference between what is reported by the mainstream media and what is actually going on in places like Iraq, Yemen, and Syria. War is unacceptable, yet in today's market system it is structurally inevitable. Hence, in order to overcome it, we must design a new socio-economic model where profiting from mass murder is systemically impossible. Maybe, instead of spending so much time and resources on how to improve and profit from mental, physical, racial, geopolitical, and ultimately self-destructive torture, we should invest our energy on creating new sustainable and peaceful social structures where we use understanding rather than violence to bridge our differences in culture. To understand more about the potential to create a world beyond war, please check out Zeit, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Thanks for listening, and much love. Also, if you want to see more Trump content and help this project grow, please support us on trumpsite.com/donate. Almost every form of celebration is now tied in with material presentation, waving the flag of a nation, and other forms of disposable decoration. In the Western world, Christmas, birthdays, and wedding expeditions have gradually turned into increasingly material traditions, developing a culturally reinforced habit of consumeristic repetition. So many humans are patriotically waving a flag and distinguishing themselves with branded impractical handbags in today's crazy shopping culture where everything has a price tag. Ho ho ho, sorry, but no. This metaphysical materialism has got to go if we want to save our species from the cyclical consumeristic flow. But corporations don't want their profits to stop, so they'll continue to reinforce people to shop and pop fancy champagne to an insanely loud beat drop. Capitalism is all about who controls stuff, owns the newest stuff, the most stuff, the shiniest, coolest, and fastest stuff, and has thereby created a mentality where what you have will never ever be enough. Screw you and more for me, don't care about that homeless guy. That's today's sad and self-centered mentality, created and forced into fruition by this predatory trade society. So many people have been conditioned to only think about more money, more stuff, and more brands, whilst billions of humans live in poverty and millions more are victims of the West bombing their lands. Most people think they freely choose what they buy, but really your choices are determined by your background, society, the media, and so on, thereby making the concept of free will and independent choice a lie. Imagine a world where people don't expect or need material gifts in order to celebrate together. Imagine a world where everyone has access to the necessities of life for free and therefore have no materialistic pressure. For more information about real solutions to most of our problems today, check out Zeit, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love. Also, if you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on tromsite.com/donate. $100 million people are homeless worldwide, and there are over 100 million empty apartments worldwide. Why those homeless are not living in those empty apartments is still beyond my mind. In today's self-entrapped world of the so smart mobile phone, it has become much easier to ignore all those that don't even have a home. How many homeless people have you walked past on the street? How many times have you tried to put yourself in their shoes, watching all those passing feet? Why are they begging and nobody's helping? Why is there more food than ever before, but nothing for them to eat? With the amount of money the United States spends every year on Christmas decorations alone, they could easily eliminate their issue of homelessness. It is really not that difficult to overcome most of our problems today if we gather and work collectively and not get sucked into the predominantly reinforced culture of hopelessness. Why does modern society make you feel like you're all on your own? Why can't we build a future where nobody is categorized as a negative externality and thrown out into an artificially scarce society where you're all alone? As many as 1.6 billion people lack adequate housing, and people are still defending today's outdated market structure, which is depressingly astounding. Governments are using metal spikes to deal with the homeless, and unless we change the structural forces that generate such backwards type thinking, there will be little to no improvement to such coldness. In today's society, we take better care of those in jail than those on the street. Those behind bars are given beds, sheets, clothes, food, water, and much more, whilst the homeless struggle every day just to get something to eat. Homelessness is not an accident or a fixed social condition. It is the inevitable outcome of a very unequal and obsolete market system based primarily on ruthless and predatory human versus human competition. It will take a completely new socio-economic mission where we instead use science and technology to design an emergent system that makes sure everyone has access to clean water, clean air, healthy nutrition, relevant education, and of course proper accommodation. The key message in this poem is that suffering on the street of hunger, thirst, the cold, the heat, the loneliness, and the degradation has nothing to do with a person's chromosomes. It has something to do with the social structure they are living in that systemically denies them a home. To understand more about real solutions to homelessness and most of our problems today, please check out Tromsite, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Also, if you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on tromsite.com/donate. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love. We live in a world where the very foundation of our economic system is based upon social ranks. The higher you climb, the closer you might get to the cartel of banks. If you like to talk about organized crime, perhaps the most powerful institution of all times, then look a little closer at who's controlling the issue of every single dime. Most gangsters go to war, have guns, and sell cocaine on the street. But the best gangsters create wars, sell guns, and are people you'll never meet. Here's a question: what's a bigger crime? To own a prison or to be in one? To shoot each other with AK-47s or to be the person selling both sides the guns? The truth is none. Both are bound by circumstances, conditioning, and causality. The act or position is simply the deterministic outcome. Yet besides that, people's sense of morality seems twisted. But what else can one expect from a world where arms dealers, CEOs, and bankers are the last ones to be convicted? It's also interesting how uniforms and badges seem to make killing people okay. Like all those soldiers and cops murdering innocent civilians in this unequal game we play. The various institutions of this system legitimize those who serve the establishment up top, whereas the low-level players are economically disadvantaged and demonized non-stop. How can you justify such a system where the ruling elites dress in million-dollar suits, whilst billions unnecessarily work meaningless jobs like programmed prostitutes? One can't, as the entire pyramid structure pushes an aggressive mob mentality, with some level of hate, violence, and classism being a part of everyday reality. The entire corporate structure seems to be like the mafia. Power consolidation, loyalty, and merciless practices are the protocols that breed this egomania. However, I'm not saying that one should hate any type of gangster, legitimized or otherwise. Like all humans, we are products of culture and our socio-economic structure, which is important to realize. What I am saying, though, is that being ruthless, brutal, predatory, competitive, and acquisitive, just like a gangster, doesn't come out of nowhere. It is taught by this capitalistic culture with all the ghettos, inequality, movies, media, business schools, and universities, molding humans everywhere. And as long as this trade game exists, our world of low-level and legitimate gangsters will persist. To understand more about a trade-free world beyond gangsters, please check out Tromsite, the Venus Project, and the Zeitgeist movement. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, much love. Also, if you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on tromsite.com/donate. It seems like the modern world traps most people in a self-centered bubble. Everyone's too busy keeping their head above water that they can't see beyond their own economic struggle. How can you care or help someone in trouble if you yourself are stuck in capitalism's ruthless everyday hustle? For most humans, the market has made it impossible to survive without submitting to the rules of the rat race. Deviate, don't play, or revolt, and you will most likely be ostracized, neglected, and put in place. Working most of your life for some corporation or business like a slave probably has a lot to do with school, family, and society indoctrinating you on how it is you should behave. Our predatory world consists of a whole lot of sharp elbows. Most people fight about who's got the most expensive house, the fastest car, and the shiniest clothes. That's it. Clothes and shows seem to be all the average person really knows. Science, technology, and critical thinking are simply made irrelevant to the masses, I suppose. But I know it's difficult to think critically if you're in an environment that rewards ignorance and also messes you up physically. Our daily lives are strongly influenced by social pressure and our economic circumstances. Hence, even when someone wants change, they rarely risk or can afford to take any serious stances. So like rats shoved into a train, the daily hustle continues, forcing most to play today's ruthless and consumeristic everyday game. But that's not how it must be. Through education and by looking at our problems from a structural point of view, you might be able to see that it is possible to create a new system that surpasses this daily hustle of you versus me, of them versus us, of division, materialism, and coldness, of most people's daily monotony, of the psychological suppression that comes with working for someone or something you don't believe in for most of your life. Today's outdated labor for income system in our polluted and disconnected society is not working any longer. Most of today's jobs are completely unnecessary and a part of an old and unsustainable economic system. A system that hasn't always been around and will certainly disappear one way or another. One way could be by re-engineering it into one that fits our technological potential and the wisdom that we are all in this together as one big species. There is no need for subservience, exploitation, financial pressure, competitive behavior, and most of our problems today in a technologically advanced world of abundance. If you haven't already, please come discover a trade-free world at the Venus Project, the Zeitgeist movement, and Trom. Thank you for listening, and much love. If you want to see more Trom content and help this project grow, please support us on tromsite.com/donate.
Are you tired of all the old games we keep playing? All the corruption and crime in our system? The endless fighting and bickering with our politicians? While nothing really gets done and everything seems to just get worse? Welcome everybody, I'm your host, Steve Saylor, and thanks for dropping by to play Designing the Future, the new home version of the game that's sweeping the nation, and I mean really sweeping because it is one big old mess we've made for ourselves. Okay, we're just going to stop this for a second. I know this seems kind of silly. Let me just quickly tell you why I'm doing this. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I'm trying to explain this to a couple of my friends, the resource-based economy as opposed to the monetary-based economy, and it might be able to solve a lot of these big problems we're facing right now. Anyway, I'm trying to explain this to my friends, which is hard to do in just a minute or two because there are some points along the way that require a little elaboration. So when they started asking me things like, what color robes will we be wearing in the cult? I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll make a couple of videos and explain this as quickly as I can, and you can watch those. And they said, well, okay, but it's not going to be boring, is it? Because our attention spans aren't what they used to be. I said, you babies, you big babies, what do I have to do, make a game out of this? And they said, yeah, oh, that'd be good. We like games. And that's why I got this version of the new home game and why we are about to play Designing the Future. And it's going to be fun, I hope, so I can keep my friends awake. We're drawing from the pile that is called Sense or Senseless. And it says, explain the history of money. For $100, and this is to get rid of $100. See, that's why it's the opposite of Monopoly. Oh. You'll have 60 seconds. We have a time limit. That makes it more exciting. To explain the history of money without going crazy. That's the hard part. It's definitely senseless. Yeah. We just hit the timer, and that sound comes out of somewhere, and we haven't always had money. You know that, right? We used to wander around in tribes. I'll hunt, you gather, and we could gather enough to survive. And then we gained more control over the land, agriculture, and we could produce an abundance of a crop that other people don't have and they want it. So we needed something to represent the value of stuff. And we've always been fascinated by shiny objects, gold and silver. Yeah, that's good. Then we can make them into coins, and our technology evolves. And we can make machines that can print on paper. And somebody says, hey, carrying around all this gold is a hassle. I've got a safe place in back where I can keep the gold, and I can print some nice paper with numbers on them to represent the shiny stuff, which represents all the other stuff. And this works. People like it. Then the guy starts thinking, I bet I could print twice as much of the paper than I have of the gold. And I could loan out that half and get paid back with a little extra. And the wonderful world of banking is born. And pretty soon they're making 4 or 5 times as much paper than the gold. They don't even try to hide it. A few people are asking, what's this paper really worth? Don't ask questions. It's good for the economy. Here, take some more. Shut up. Go shopping. And then the bankers say, you're trying to keep track of all this paper money in relation to the gold. It's insane. Let's get rid of the gold. But then what are we going to use to represent the value of everything? Bigger paper, fancier, yeah. Give it a cool name like bond, treasury bond. Okay, time's up. Okay, I think I did a pretty good job of it, and the judges agreed that's good enough for you to get rid of $100. And I didn't go crazy. I was becoming slightly agitated, but who wouldn't? Trying to make sense of that, they're just making up the money out of nowhere. And that fractional reserve scam where they make 4 or 5 times as much paper than the gold, well, now it's up to 10 times as much. And there ain't no gold. Yeah, go figure. Think about that for a second. If you or I want to get a loan for a house and let's say $100,000, they just type those numbers into the computer and presto, sign here. And that's how money gets created now. When people agree to go into debt, then they're holding our debt in their reserve, and that 100,000 number they type in the computer 10 times as much. They can say they have $1 million now. Yeah. And if you can't make those payments, they'll take your house or your car or whatever the loan's for, and all they did was type it. And of course, with interest, you're going to end up paying them $300,000 when it's finally paid off. And in the first few years, almost all of your payments will be going toward the interest. But then you say, hey, I'm still a little upset about this whole interest thing, but why am I paying most of that in the first years? And they say, well, that's because if something should happen to you in the near future, God forbid, we want to make sure we've been able to suck you dry before that happens. Now move along. Don't ask questions. Go shopping. Okay, cool down, relax. You got to try to laugh about this so you don't begin weeping uncontrollably. Another yes or no, 5 seconds. Is the Federal Reserve a part of our government? No. No, it's not. Lots of people think it is. I used to. because it has the word federal in there, but so does the Federal Bar and Grill and the Federal Garbage Disposal Company. Little deceptions in the money game that we've gotten used to, like $9.95. Oh, it's not $10? No, it's $9.95. Oh, okay, well, that's better, yeah. The Federal Reserve, that's just an independent bank or a private corporation. How does a private bank gain control of a country's money supply? I'm answering for you, and I think I know this. I know how they did it last time in 1913 and all the other times too, probably. They found out which politicians were the key players in getting their legislation passed, and they said, let's take them out to dinner. Best restaurant, food, and wine, and they said, hey, we've heard what some people are saying, this may not be in the country's best interest, but they don't understand. Look, you've got enough to deal with right now. You don't want to get involved with this money game. We know how to do this. Yeah, it's what we do. So we'll make the money, we'll give it to you. You can pay us back with a little interest. Yeah, that's the way it works.
Oh.
Here, let me fill your glass. There we go.
Oh.
We're thinking of changing the name from Central Bank. Get bank out of there. Central Reserve, maybe, or Federal Reserve. Yeah, that could be just misleading enough to get you off the hook. So we'll handle everything. You won't even have to look at our books or worry about regulating anything. By the way, that word regulate, how much to get that word out of your vocabulary? More? Regulate, regulation, regulatory, any form of the word. No. Maury, sure, we're going to print some more tomorrow. Re-elected? Of course we'll make sure you get re-elected. Don't worry about that. Hey, do you have a date tonight for the party? Because we can set you up with... Yeah. And that's how they did it. Pretty much the same way it's done today. No, exactly the same way it's done today. All right, anyway, you got rid of another $200. You're doing pretty good. Hey, I believe it's my turn. I got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the quickie pile. And we're headed to the cemetery. Ooh, wow. According to police reports, there have been numerous sightings recently. People have begun seeing the free market hanging around the cemetery late at night with a shovel in its hand, digging its own grave. Okay. For $300, advancements in technology have made it possible for you to replace your employees with machines. In economic terms, what is this called? Let's see, some kind of unemployment, right? Due to technology. Yes, close enough. That's close enough. Technological unemployment. So how exactly is this making it dig its own grave? Well, you see, it's caught in a trap. It's like it has this internal dialogue pulling it back and forth. One side saying, if you go with the machines and get rid of the people, well, these employees, they're also consumers who buy your products. And without jobs, they can no longer be your customers. They won't have money to buy your stuff. Oh, don't listen to that. Oh, just think how great it would be to get rid of these workers, these people who are always wanting things from us, like health benefits and higher wages, a share in the profits. Oh, give me a break. They don't show up sometimes. They have to take their kids to the doctor or some such nonsense. But then they won't have money to consume, and sales will take a downturn, and that won't sit well with our shareholders. Can't be tolerated. No, we need those profits to stay alive. We need that growth, no matter how cancerous. So let's see, what is it going to do? The free market? Get rid of the people. Oh yeah, of course, that's not a very difficult decision when machines can work 24 hours a day and they won't demand any benefits and won't talk back. Yeah, okay, well, that's good enough for me to get rid of 300. And oh, no, wait. I've been replaced by a machine. But wait, that's a good thing, right? I was getting pretty sick of that tedious manual labor, so now I can be free to spend more time at things I'm interested in, that I enjoy, that are rewarding and contribute to making things better for me and the people around me. What? You don't want me to do that? You want to force me to stay in this game? You're going to create some more jobs in the money game just so I can keep buying your stuff? Oh, great. Oh, thank you. All right, it's your turn. A 3, 1, 2, 3. This is back to the WTF pile. And ride the cycle. Ride the cycle. Oh, no, wait. No, this is not good. It's ride the vicious cycle.
Ride the vicious cycle.
Of consumption.
Of consumption.
And here we go. Oh, boy. Okay, don't worry. It'll be over before you know it. It goes by fast. And it's hard to see all the twists and turns on the ride, but try to remember them because it's after the ride is over. That's when you score the points. Okay, now you know the basics of our consumption cycle, right? That it needs to keep going and growing to fuel our money economy. Yeah, you probably already know this, so just hang on because it's wild and it's out of control. And the worst part is that it's backwards. Oh, it is so backwards. Whoa. Okay, so we have to continually make stuff to sell it. And some of us make these products, but everybody has to have some kind of job to make money so we can consume them and then throw away what's left and do it all over again. And then sometimes we're making things we really need, things that benefit people. But sometimes, no. Any kind of crap will do as long as somebody can convince us that we really need it. Look out. And we have to keep the cycle going or the economy breaks down. So should we be using the best materials to make quality products that are built to last? No! Oh, but if we got to keep selling more to make those profits, then we have to make them built not to last. Look out! So we need a plan, okay, to make our products become obsolete in a hurry. Yes, and we'll call it planned obsolescence. Whoa. Oh, my goodness. Let me off of here. I want to get off this ride. Oh, did you catch all that? Because it's hard to see sometimes with all those twists and turns and the vicious cycle. But here's where we can get rid of some big money. So $100 for each twisted turn you can remember. Anyway, you see what I mean when you take a good, close look at the money economy and the vicious cycle? How we lose at every turn? A 5, 1, 2, 3, yes. We are into the future now from a new pile of possibilities, yes. Alien abduction.
Alien abduction.
Oh, no, wait, this is a good thing. Alien abduction. Yeah, this is going to be good. And the ship is on its way, and everybody can come along for the ride. Hey, don't worry, there won't be any needles or poking or probing. Hey, we're on our way already, beaming up, Scotty. And what a view. From a distance, it's a beautiful, peaceful planet. From a distance. And now we're beaming inside the ship, and the aliens don't look all that different from us. They don't look threatening. They tell us to sit back and relax as this huge screen with super high def lights up and begins showing us pictures of a planet. And it's so beautiful, we're not sure at first if it's our Earth, but it is. And they tell us that we're lucky to call this place home. Not all planets are so abundant with life and natural wonders and resources. And we'd have to agree, especially when we take the time to see it from a different perspective. And they say, yes, it's quite miraculous, the land and the water, and the animals. Then the pictures begin to change. Not so beautiful anymore, but rather dreadful, disturbing. And they say, but we're not so sure about you, the way human beings are behaving, the way you treat these things, and especially each other. Then the images are gone, and they look at us and they just say, why? Why do we do this? Treat each other, I don't know, because that's the way it is. There's not enough for everybody, so some people have to starve and suffer. No, they say, you have more than enough resources to provide food and shelter for everyone. We just scanned your whole planet. The land and the water and all the natural resources. They showed us all these papers they printed out. And they say, you could do this yourself. Not as quickly as we did, of course, because our scanners are top of the line, built to last. Oh yeah, that built to last thing, we need to work on that. Then they tell us they've calculated these resources along with the number of people, and there's more than enough. So then, why? I don't know. I mean, I kind of know. Because you're wasting your time and your effort and your resources on things that don't take care of these needs, that don't solve these problems, that only perpetuate them and make them worse. Yeah, having just taken a good look at the consumption cycle, we know what that ride is all about. We just don't know how to get off it. You put one foot in front of the other and you get off it. You get rid of everything that doesn't contribute to the solutions. Everything, like our armies, weapons, our militaries. Yeah, that's easier said than done. People have been saying this for decades. If we could just take all this money and energy and resources that we spend on making things to kill each other and spend them on taking care of each other, then maybe you better do it in the future, starting right now, if you want to have a future. Whoa, that almost sounded like a threat. Maybe these aliens are the intergalactic exterminators making the rounds and getting rid of the messy tenants that are trashing their homes. That's probably what we'd need to get off our butts and do it. Someone to say, stop burning the dirty fuel and polluting the atmosphere and stop killing each other and grow up, or else we spray. Yeah. They say, get rid of your killing machines and all these meaningless games you've created with that worthless paper. Oh, you mean money? Yeah, what the hell is that all about? All these things you occupy your time and energy with that aren't relevant to people, to the needs of your species. Get rid of them. Then get busy putting your house in order. Yeah, but what if we can't do it? What if we can't figure out how to go about that? How do we even begin? Some people would say, well, we should do this first, or work on that, and we'd end up arguing about it because it seems that's what we people do. It should be obvious. We could tell you how to do that in 2 words. The alien reaches over and pulls this page, it shoots out of the printer, and it's just 2 words. It says computer chess. Oh, yeah. Oh, computer chess, okay, yeah. Then he reaches over and hits a button and says, you have 60 seconds. Oh, no, what? I didn't think we'd be playing the game up here. Really? Oh, geez, and what does this mean? Is this like a clue or a riddle? Yeah. Oh, no, that means we have to think, and we don't really like to do much of that. But the clock is ticking. Okay, so the computer wants to play a game of chess with us, and if we win, we get their ship. No. I don't know. Help me out here. What is it about, when you play a game of chess with the computer, it always wins, right? Unless you dumb it down, but it's faster than we are, and it's better at making the right moves because it can see every... But we taught it, right? I mean, we put all the information in there about the rules and how each piece can move, strategies, everything about the game. So then it can process all that information in a second and see every possible move at all the possible results of those moves, then all the moves after that, and there's no way we can keep up. Okay, all right, stop. All right, I think I see. I see what you're getting at, right? Okay, we put all this information from your scan. We put that information about every resource, where it's located, how much is there, and everything about our climates, our soil, open land, water. We put all this into the computer, and it can help to show us the best way to utilize it, the most logical, efficient way to set up systems to produce food and energy and housing. Yes, because the logic, the rationale that leads you to these strategies and decisions is right there for everyone to see. No need for people to argue about it, no need for lawyers to present their slanted, perhaps emotional appeals. No need for politicians to get involved with their special interest motives and debate the issue while nothing gets done. You know, the way you do things now. Yeah, this other method, this would be the sensible way to go about it. When suddenly we're back in a beam of light, on our way back down. You roll a 6, back to the sense or senseless pile. What jobs are relevant? Yeah, okay, well, this makes sense, huh? Time for a little downsizing. What jobs are relevant? Everything must go. It's the sale to end all sales. Okay, you can get rid of some money here. $100 for each correct response, and you'll have 30 seconds. And go. No. Yes. No. No. Yes. Yes. No. 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 Yes. No. No. Yes. No. 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 Yes. No. There we go. Wow, time's up. All right. I'm not sure how many there were. We're going to have to ask the judges. How many? And we're rolling the dice on our future. 3. 1, 2, 3. Once again, this is sense or senseless. My turn. Okay, here's a question about energy. Right, in the resource-based economy, the aim is to stop burning these dirty fossil fuels and switch over to the clean, renewable, and free sources of energy, such as solar, wind, hydro, geothermal. Okay, but you know what they say, that we have to keep burning the dirty stuff because the technology isn't quite there yet to supply our needs with the renewable sources? For $200, it's a yes or no here. 5 seconds to think about it. Can we supply our needs at this point in time with the clean, renewable energy sources? And no. So I'll say yes. And I'm right. I get rid of an entire... What? Some of you are saying no. You say that we can't do that right now? Okay, but wait now. You remember that at the beginning of the question, it said in the resource economy. A little trick question there, because if you're thinking about our current monetary system, in that case, you're probably right. In this system that turns us into these consumption machines and that waste so much of our energy playing the money games. In the resource economy, consumption for the sake of consumption, that would be senseless. This would be about using our resources intelligently and conservatively, and things would look a lot different. For instance, let's say if we've gotten rid of all the occupations that aren't relevant, like we've just done, then instead of the freeways looking like this, they now look like this. Yeah, imagine that. 2/3 of all this traffic on our freeways vanished. But people aren't driving to these jobs anymore. They're spending most of their time working around their homes and their communities. And okay, so how much have we saved right there? And think about all the energy we spend shipping things around the country and across the oceans, like food and other products people use. Right now we're growing food on these huge mega farms, and we pack it onto trains and planes and into trucks and start those engines and burn that fuel. And now imagine that most of this is produced locally. Every city and every town have their own farms and community gardens, and where you can't grow it outside, we have greenhouses everywhere, big ones, because this is what we're doing now. We're putting our energies and our resources into growing things. And we grow food inside high-rises too, with hydroponics and other technologies that are available now. Yeah, instead of using up all this land horizontally, we can now grow vertically. We can convert the buildings that are already there, like the office high-rises that are vacant now because the investment bankers and stockbrokers have moved on with their lives.
Yeah, baby!
And how about our energy sources? Instead of that massive coal-burning plant moving electricity through hundreds of miles of high-tension wires strung out across 4 or 5 states, gone. Just like with the food production, it's all done locally. Every city and every town, every community have their own systems, whatever's most efficient for their climate, weather patterns, wind and solar, hydro resources, rivers and oceans with their wave and tidal potential. And we can do this right now when we've gotten rid of all this needless waste that we accept as natural and necessary for that monetary economic growth. I rolled a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. WTF one more time. Could machines turn against us and take over the world? Oh, 5 seconds. No! No, that's a common knee-jerk reaction that many people have. As we've seen here, we'd be using computers, machines, technology to continually improve the methods of food and energy productions and all these other things that are relevant to people. And it would all be open source. All the information that's being evaluated would be right there for everyone to see, hopefully contribute some ideas themselves. Yeah, machines, they take over in the movies because you need that drama and conflict in a movie. In reality, these machines would just perform their basic tasks, their monotonous jobs that we've gladly given them, and that doesn't make a good movie. No, not a lot of drama there. If someone tried to make a movie of that, I imagine it might go something like this. It started out a day like any other. All the machines humming along, product moving down the line like there was no tomorrow. And maybe there wouldn't be, because this was a day that could change the fate of the world. Pat was over there with the chocolates, a real class act, long and lanky, built for speed. We all thought Pat was the sweetest thing we'd ever seen. Maybe that's because she was handling chocolate all day long, I don't know. My name's Chris, that's me on the left, along with my partner Dale. We were into crackers. We could line those things up all day long. It was our job, we were good at it, and we liked it. Suddenly I could feel something was wrong. I could tell by the music. Dale, look over there. Dale had seen it too. No. The chocolates were on the move, but there was a troublemaker on the belt. Oh, it was way out of line. How did it get out there? Would Pat be able to handle it? Everybody was watching now. The moment of truth was about to arrive. Well, that didn't turn out to be much of anything, did it? No problem at all. Oh, Pat was good. Matter of fact, we were all pretty damn good, and that's how we meant to stay. And you can take that to the bank. If you can find one, they're all gone now. Yeah, you see what I mean? You're not going to go out to the theater and get a babysitter and make a night out of it to see this crap. This is real life. It ain't the movies. Myro, this is a typical day in the life. We've got a mother and a father with 2 kids, preschool age. In 60 seconds, describe a typical day in the life of our family, first in the monetary system and then in the resource economy. Okay, 60 seconds. Now, we can decide what the parents do for a living before we start this. So, let's say he's a chemist, a chemical engineer, works for a pharmaceutical company, and she makes computer software but got laid off a year ago. So, she just got another job, though, working for a bank. Yeah, credit card department, promotions. Okay, you ready? 60 seconds. Okay. And go. Okay, so the alarm goes off at 6 in the morning, and they're up at dawn and racing around, and she gets the kids some cereal, packs their Lunchables, and then she's off to pick up a couple more people. Her turn to drive in the carpool, 30 miles in rush hour traffic on the freeway. It slows to a crawl, and she shakes her head, and she looks at all these cars sitting there spewing exhaust. And meanwhile, Dad drops the kids off at preschool, then drives 20 miles, listens to the news, more soldiers killed in the war, another oil spill, insider trading, the same old stuff. So he gets to the lab where he's been working on some kind of cell growth experiment. But one of his coworkers has stumbled onto a formula for a better boner pill. Yeah, and now everybody has to work on that. Now what he wants to be doing, he's not happy with this, but he's lucky to have a job. Yeah. Meanwhile, she's in an office at the bank. She's on the phone to a customer, plowing through that sales pitch. Yeah, a new credit card offer with some low-interest features that could really benefit them. Although she knows it won't, and they'll end up paying more in the long run. And she'd like to tell them the truth, but her call may be monitored for quality assurance. She hates doing this, but keeps reminding herself she's lucky to have a job. And now he's picking up the kids around 6 o'clock, and then they're picking up some bad habits at the preschool. And they're tired and whining, and he needs to be spending more time with them. He knows that, but those parents have to be working to make ends meet to pay those premiums, which keep going up. And anyway, Mom gets home an hour later, and they put some frozen dinners in the microwave. There's some housework to be done, and finances. Yeah, they usually try to get in some quality time with their kids before bed, but not tonight because it's almost April 15th, and they're still working on their taxes, and they need to go through their bills, and got to pay some by tomorrow or get hit with another late fee. So, I couldn't quite make it there. Almost. What's left? The kids fall asleep in front of the TV, and they keep going till midnight when they literally collapse into bed. No time or energy for any affection these days. No, they got to get up the next morning and get right back in the rat race. Wow. It's kind of depressing, isn't it? What we have to put ourselves through just to make it through the day playing this money game. And I think all of us can see the damage that's being done to people, to families by the stress and arguments that result from the game. Not having enough time for the things that really matter, not being able to raise your kids with the supervision and attention they need. And this leads to all these increasing social problems in our society. I know, okay. Yeah, it's depressing. This is going to be a little better. I do believe it should be. 60 seconds, come on, and go. Okay, so they get up in the morning when they've had all the sleep they need, which is usually around 8 o'clock. And they've got a little garden outside the back door. They pick some veggies for their omelet, and the kids are involved with making breakfast, fresh fruit. And Mom takes the kids in the morning, and they walk a couple blocks to where they hop on the trolley, electric trolley. And there's very few cars on the road these days. They've gotten rid of theirs. They don't need them now. So it's just a couple miles out to the community gardens, and they spend a few hours there tending and planting and harvesting. The kids are learning about how to grow food and the different areas where people have experiments in progress. So meanwhile, Dad is online with a big group of like-minded chemical engineers. He's back to working on this human cell regeneration project. And there are scientists from Europe and Africa and Asia and the Middle East all over the world who are connected and working together on this project. And he finds this to be just fascinating. Okay, so when the rest of the family returns with more food at his picnic, they make lunch. He tells them about what's been going on in his group. They tell him about some of the experiments they're doing at the gardens. And then after some quiet time, he takes the kids and they walk a mile to this assisted living facility where he's been helping with some renovations. And there's a preschool down the block, so the kids spend a couple hours there. And when he comes to get them, he stays for a while and, plays some games with the kids. And in the meantime, Mom's on the computer with her group working on a software program, and she's still into it when they get back around 5 o'clock. And so they walk over to the park, Dad and the kids, and they get some more exercise. They join in a softball game, and it's not that kind of game where the parents yell at the umps and get in fights on the sidelines, because that would just be stupid. So they go home now and they have dinner. I know, I couldn't make it. But can I just finish this day because, I like it here. Yeah, I like it a lot. And so just a few more seconds. Let me finish the day, okay? Okay, it's almost dark. They have dinner, and then this is their favorite part of the day. They're working on this project where the dad has one of the kids, and they're writing this children's story, and the mom has the other kid, and they're doing the music for it with this new software program that she's made. And they wrote this Zeitgeist lullaby song and put it online, and other people have been listening to it and like it, and that makes them feel good that they've created something that people like. And then the parents tuck them into bed and read them a story. And the kids are all excited, though, about the big holiday tomorrow because it's April 15th, one of the biggest holidays in the land. When parents tell their kids about how they had to work at these jobs they didn't really want to do that weren't relevant to anything to get this paper money and give a lot of it to the government on this day. A lot of that money would be wasted on this or that. And the kids say, wow, that sounds crazy. And the parents say, oh, let me tell you about it. And the kids say, no, that's all right, we've heard enough. So anyway, there'll be festivities at the park tomorrow and games and a fun house. That could be a little scary, though, because it's the free market fun house, a flash from the past. And you go in there and you get hit from every direction with late fees. And around every corner, you're accosted by bill collectors. And there are scary repo men at every window. It's a little traumatic, but they figure the kids should be exposed to this because they should know what we've been through and know that we never, ever want to go back there again. And then when the kids go to sleep, then the parents still have a little time and energy for some affection, and then they get up the next day and do it again. Yeah. That makes sense, doesn't it? That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, that's how we could be living if everything wasn't so backwards and so senseless. A 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, which puts you up to the top row, and the final two questions. Could this happen? Or more precisely, what we want to know is, could this happen in the near future? Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. It should happen, and it should happen sooner than later. It has to. Or we'll continue to see this money game, this Ponzi scheme fall apart and ruin lives as it collapses, and we'll continue to waste our dwindling resources and poison our environment to keep that vicious consumption cycle turning. And we'll continue to see our young people heading off to war and coming home in coffins or without their limbs. This should happen soon. It has to happen. But could it? All right, well, actually, yes, it could. And there are two main reasons why it could happen now, whereas just 10 or 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible. And reason number one, technology. These automated production lines, computerized robotics, Most of us aren't aware of how far we've come in a short time, how this technology has advanced. Yeah, this is our workforce now, and they could do 70, 80% of this work now in the next decade, and maybe 90% the decade after that. The rest could be done by volunteers, people who are interested in this technology, who see it as a challenge to put these systems into place and improve them and bring them up to maximum efficiency. But with all these war games we keep playing, we'd have to stop that, right? We'd have to grow up. But how can we do that when our leaders keep telling us that those people hate us and they want to kill us, and their leaders are saying the same thing to their people? Which leads us to reason number 2, which is technology. Yes, once again, the big winner. But not the automated systems we were talking about. This time it's the communication technology. You can go anywhere, visit with people on the other side of the world. For the first time in our history, we're able to virtually walk into their living rooms and get to know them and realize that they don't want to fight wars either. They don't want to invade other countries or have theirs invaded, be put in a position to kill or be killed just because our leaders are finding it too difficult and too profitable to arrive at a peaceful solution. Obviously, it would have to be on that huge, massive scale from the bottom up, But we can do this now because of this amazing technology that enables all the people in the world to see that we're basically the same, and it's actually possible for us to be friends. Now when they say, oh, those people want to kill us, we can say no. Most of those people don't want to have anything to do with your war games and power struggles. And we know that because we've talked to them. Yeah, while you've been threatening their leaders and they've been threatening you, we've gotten to know these people, and they're just like us. They don't want that world anymore. And it's time for you to stop it right now. Yeah, stop it, grow up. Enough of this biggest bully on the playground routine. We're not going to play that game anymore. Before that gets me up there too, and the final question. Would the people in power want this to happen or let this happen? Yeah, it would seem that this small group of people who are really benefiting from our current system would resist leaving it behind. Those people who are in charge of the governments and the banks and the corporations who have this ridiculous amount of financial wealth. And one segment of that group are the people who are working long hours in the day to remain rich, who are under an enormous amount of pressure and stress, who might decide to go with the transition because they've taken a good look at it and they believe it will actually make their lives better. Because all this pressure they're under, the demands on them require all their time, and they know that much of that time should be spent with their kids, their family. They shouldn't be paying someone else to raise their kids. They know that should be their job, and they'd like to be doing it in most cases, I believe, but they don't have time for it. Yeah, they're trapped in the game like everybody else. Okay, so besides this segment of the people who are in control, there's this other group who are often referred to as the idle rich, who are just living off their money or someone else's money, and they could be the most resistant to this new system, the system that would benefit everyone instead of a few. Well, we would have to make them understand that things would be better for them too. A society without corruption and crime, better. They wouldn't have to worry about criminals breaking into their homes and taking from them or worse things. Wouldn't have to worry about someone kidnapping their children and holding them for ransom. All these terrible things that exist in the monetary system would be gone. And no one will be taking away their houses or their treasured possessions. They can keep all their homes, however many they have. Keep their cars, their yachts, everything. We would sincerely reassure them and make them see that they could continue to live to enjoy the same degree of idleness to which they've become accustomed, Now, it's true that most of them are used to having their maids and their hired help to clean up after them, and now that no one is in servitude to anyone else, well, they might have to do a little bit of cleaning up after themselves. But look, only for a short time, because soon we can get this new crew in there to do that work for them. And I'm talking about Robin ZG400 and the Jesse and Bobby Joe 2.0 cleaning companions. They do it all. They can serve your food and clean your table and wash those dishes. They'll sweep up and vacuum. They can do your laundry. And if you're really finicky, or what's the proper clinical term, anal retentive, yeah, about certain things like the way your towels are folded, well, these cleaning companions have settings that can be adjusted for any level of retention. Right here, for instance, I believe Robin's settings are in the full-on anal position, and just look at that precision, that attention to detail. And if that doesn't satisfy you, well, come on, loosen up a little. What if there were a few holdouts, from powerful countries, some of the corrupt tyrants who have big militaries, and they're saying, hey, look here, this is my money. Yeah, all this, and it's worth a lot. And then we'd say, well, no, not really. We're not using that anymore. Oh, yes, we are. This is worth what I tell you it's worth, and I've got my military behind me to bet. Oh, what? They're not back there? Are you sure? Hold on a second. Damn. Okay, maybe we can talk this over in a more... Are you sure they're not back? And that's how it ends. Because these are just little men with big armies, but when their armies aren't there anymore, well, they're just little men who have no other option but to walk away. And we're seeing that right now in the Middle East, in South America. The armies have come down on the side of the people, and I believe it will be our militaries who, instead of killing us all, will end up saving all of us by refusing to fight their own people. And that's how it ends. But before we say goodbye, let's go ahead and bid a fond farewell to some of this baggage that we've been carrying along for too long. Yeah, the stuff that we've just cut loose, which has been officially labeled as obsolete. Look, there it goes. Oh yeah, this would be nice to say goodbye to some of these things. And, as we bid adieu, well, I think maybe we should go out with a song. What do you think? A fond farewell to you. We need not meet again. A fond farewell to you. Time comes to the end. Farewell to all these things that come between us. So long to silly things that just demean us. Farewell to you, my old and tired friend. Before we meet,
A corporation is a legal entity that is separate from its owners, known as shareholders. It is formed under the laws of a particular jurisdiction and is granted certain rights and privileges. Corporations are established for various purposes, such as conducting business, engaging in commercial activities, or pursuing non-profit objectives. Key characteristics of a corporation include: 1. Legal entity. A corporation is recognized as a legal entity with its own rights and obligations. It can enter into contracts, own property, sue or be sued, and engage in various legal transactions. 2. Limited liability. One of the primary advantages of a corporation is limited liability for its shareholders. This means that the shareholders' personal assets are generally protected from the corporation's debts and legal liabilities. Shareholders are only liable for the amount of their investment in the company. 3. Separate management and ownership. Corporations have a distinct separation between ownership and management. Shareholders own the corporation through the ownership of shares, but they typically do not participate in the day-to-day management of the company. Instead, they elect a board of directors to oversee strategic decisions and hire executive officers to manage the company's operations. 4. Perpetual existence. Unlike individual businesses, corporations have perpetual existence. They can continue to exist even if there are changes in ownership or management. This feature provides stability and continuity for the corporation and its stakeholders. 5. Transferable ownership. Shares of a corporation are typically transferable, allowing shareholders to buy and sell their ownership interests in the company. This facilitates investment and liquidity for shareholders. 6. Profit maximization. Corporations are generally organized with the objective of maximizing profits for their shareholders. This means that the corporation's decisions and activities are often driven by the pursuit of financial gains. It's worth noting that corporations can vary in size, structure, and purpose. They can be privately owned, closely held, or publicly traded on stock exchanges, and they can operate in various industries and sectors. Overall, corporations play a significant role in the global economy, as they enable the pooling of resources, encourage investment, and provide a legal framework for conducting business activities. The impact of corporations on society and the environment can be significant and wide-ranging. Here are some key points to consider. 1. Economic impact. The distribution of wealth and benefits from corporate activities can be uneven, leading to income inequality and social disparities. The general myth in a market system is that corporations drive scientific innovation. This is simply untrue, considering the more trading goes on, the wider the gap between the rich and the poor gets, and innovation is greater in more equal countries. Also, the more economic growth, the more happiness in society is assumed. This is also untrue. When GDP rises, it is simply the buying and selling of more goods and services. This has nothing to do with human happiness. An addiction to owning more and more material possessions, or owning more and more money, is not true happiness. 2. Employment practices. Corporations have faced criticism for labor rights violations, including poor working conditions, low wages, exploitation of workers, and the suppression of labor unions. Ensuring fair and ethical labor practices is crucial for promoting social well-being. 3. Environmental impact. Many corporations have a significant ecological footprint due to their operations, resource consumption, and waste generation. Industries such as energy, manufacturing, and agriculture can contribute to pollution, deforestation, habitat destruction, and greenhouse gas emissions. The extraction of natural resources can also lead to environmental degradation and the loss of biodiversity. 4. Climate change. Corporations, particularly those involved in the extraction and burning of fossil fuels, are major contributors to climate change. Their greenhouse gas emissions contribute to global warming, sea level rise, and extreme weather events. Transitioning to sustainable practices, reducing emissions, and investing in renewable energy are crucial steps for mitigating climate change. 5. Social responsibility. Increasingly, there is a growing expectation for corporations to act responsibly and ethically. This includes promoting diversity and inclusion, respecting human rights, supporting local communities, and embracing sustainable practices. Many corporations are adopting corporate social responsibility (CSR) initiatives and sustainability strategies to address these concerns. 6. Influence on politics and policy. Due to their financial resources and lobbying power, corporations can exert significant influence on political processes and policymaking. This influence can shape regulations, taxation policies, and trade agreements, potentially favoring corporate interests over the broader public interest. Ensuring transparency, accountability, and a level playing field in the political realm is essential. 7. Corporate social impact. Some corporations actively engage in philanthropic activities, corporate giving, and community development initiatives. They contribute to social causes, support charitable organizations, and promote social well-being. While these efforts can have positive effects, critics argue that they should not replace systemic changes or address the root causes of social issues. It is a myth that corporations can become more ethical through political policy changes. In reality, corporations are so big that they are bigger than governments. The basis of a corporation is to cut costs and maximize profit regardless of the social and environmental cost. There is a revolving door between leaders of corporations and politicians. This means that government is just another business or chess piece to be used by the elite to control the public. The alternative is a scientifically based social system called a natural law resource-based economy, or an open-source society, that enables a level of freedom and a high standard of living for all people, never before seen. Segment 1. Understanding the resource-based economy. Defining a resource-based economy. A resource-based economy is a socio-economic system based on the intelligent management of Earth's resources, advanced technology, and a holistic approach to societal well-being. Emphasis on resource management. Unlike market systems driven by profit, a resource-based economy focuses on sustainable resource allocation, optimization, and utilization for the benefit of all people and the planet. Holistic systems thinking. A resource-based economy encourages a systemic perspective, integrating fields such as science, technology, ecology, and sociology to address complex societal challenges. Segment 2. Benefits to human health. Enhanced access to basic needs. In a resource-based economy, access to clean water, nutritious food, healthcare, education, and shelter becomes a priority for all individuals, promoting overall health and well-being. Eliminating socioeconomic disparities. By eliminating monetary barriers and promoting equitable resource distribution, a resource-based economy reduces disparities in healthcare access, education quality, and living standards, enhancing social cohesion and reducing stress-related health issues. Emphasizing preventive healthcare. With a focus on proactive measures, including preventive healthcare, mental health support, and holistic wellness programs, a resource-based economy prioritizes maintaining well-being and preventing illness. Segment 3. Environmental health and sustainability. Ecological balance and conservation. A resource-based economy recognizes the finite nature of Earth's resources and aims to achieve a harmonious relationship between human activity and the environment. It promotes sustainable practices, renewable energy, waste reduction, and ecological conservation. Regenerative design. Through advanced technology and sustainable design principles, a resource-based economy strives to create regenerative systems that restore ecosystems, minimize pollution, and preserve biodiversity. Climate change mitigation. By transitioning to renewable energy sources, optimizing resource use, and reducing carbon emissions, a resource-based economy actively contributes to combating climate change and its detrimental effects on human and environmental health. Segment 4. Beyond traditional systems. Deconstructing traditional hierarchies. A resource-based economy challenges the hierarchical structures prevalent in markets, politics, religions, and corporations. Instead, decision-making is based on scientific analysis, multidisciplinary collaboration, and consensus building. Technological advancements. The integration of advanced technology, automation, and artificial intelligence in a resource-based economy alleviates mundane and repetitive tasks, freeing individuals to focus on creativity, self-improvement, and meaningful contributions to society. Collaboration and global cooperation. A resource-based economy encourages global cooperation, resource sharing, and the exchange of knowledge and ideas to address global challenges collectively. Conclusion. In conclusion, a resource-based economy presents a compelling alternative to the limitations of markets, politics, religions, and corporations. By emphasizing sustainable resource management, holistic well-being, and environmental health, it offers a pathway to a more equitable and sustainable future. By prioritizing human health and the health of natural environments, a resource-based economy envisions a world where societal well-being and ecological balance are intrinsically interconnected.
Technological unemployment refers to the displacement of human workers by technological advancements and automation in various industries. In the context of free market capitalism, this phenomenon can have significant implications. Let's explore them further. 1. Job displacement. Technological advancements and automation have the potential to replace human labor in many sectors. Machines and algorithms can perform tasks faster, more accurately, and at a lower cost than human workers. As a result, workers in certain industries may find their jobs at risk or become redundant. 2. Income inequality. Technological unemployment can exacerbate income inequality within a capitalist system. The benefits of automation and increased productivity often accrue to the owners of capital, while displaced workers face the risk of unemployment or job insecurity. This can widen the wealth gap between the wealthy elite and the working class. 3. Structural unemployment. Technological unemployment can lead to long-term structural unemployment, where certain job categories become obsolete due to automation. This can create challenges for workers in transitioning to new industries or acquiring the necessary skills for emerging sectors. Structural unemployment can result in economic and social disruptions if not adequately addressed. 4. Market concentration. Technological advancements tend to favor larger corporations with greater resources to invest in automation. This concentration of power can lead to monopolistic tendencies, limiting competition and reducing job opportunities in smaller businesses. It can also contribute to the consolidation of wealth and economic power in the hands of a few dominant players. 5. Economic disruption. Technological unemployment can disrupt entire sectors and supply chains. As jobs are automated, industries may undergo significant transformations, leading to unemployment spikes, reduced consumer purchasing power, and economic instability. This can have cascading effects on the broader economy and social fabric. 6. Job quality and satisfaction. While automation may eliminate certain jobs, it can also lead to the creation of new, more specialized roles that require advanced skills. However, the transition to these jobs may not be seamless for all workers, potentially leading to job insecurity, lower wages, and reduced job satisfaction.
Addressing technological unemployment. In free market capitalism, addressing technological unemployment requires proactive measures. Some potential approaches include 1. Creating a cooperative social system instead of a competitive one. One of the myths surrounding technological unemployment is people simply need to engage in more education or training to explore new work opportunities. The problem with this idea is technology is getting so good that it is replacing all jobs. The service sector is one of the last remaining sectors remaining to employ people. Yet even that sector is starting to be challenged by technology. It becomes clear that while the market needs to remain static to keep people employed forever, technology constantly improves even with the market's attempt to stop technological progress. This means a future free of work so people can enjoy life. Yet currently the whole concept of work is wrong. There's a difference between a friendly competitive game of chess or table tennis, darts, StarCraft, Quake Live, or Counter-Strike, and the competitive, work for a living, or labor for income model. To quote Richard Wilkinson, "Are you growing up in a world where you have to fight for what you can get, watch your back, fend for yourself, learn not to trust others? Or are you growing up in a society where you depend on reciprocity, mutuality, cooperation, where empathy is important, where your security depends on good relations with other people?" End quote. Competitive labor is stressful as you always have to look out for your self-interest. Meaning you have to watch your back as you see everyone as your potential enemy because there is a limited amount of money in an economy, so you always have to fight for money.
Hey. Money!
The reality is humans are a social species, and the competitive mindset or the social relations the market produces are bad for our social and consequently our physical health. To quote Robert Sapolsky, "The health connection with poverty, it's not about being poor, it's about feeling poor." Also quoting Richard Wilkinson again, "The trigger to violence is so often people feeling looked down upon and disrespected." End quote. 2. Social safety nets. Strengthening social safety nets, such as unemployment benefits, healthcare, and income support, can provide a cushion for workers facing job displacement. These measures help ensure a smooth transition and protect individuals from the economic shocks associated with technological unemployment. 4. Economic policies. Implementing policies that promote job creation, encourage entrepreneurship, and foster innovation can help offset the negative impacts of automation. Governments can incentivize the development of new industries and support small businesses to foster a diverse and resilient job market. 5. Universal Basic Income (UBI). Some advocate for the implementation of UBI, a system where all citizens receive a regular income regardless of employment status. UBI aims to provide a basic standard of living and alleviate financial stress during periods of technological unemployment. In summary, technological unemployment within a free market capitalist system can lead to job displacement, income inequality, and economic disruptions. And the whole competitive, labor for income social system has to go in favor of a cooperative one. Science is a cooperative process. Science has shown that more scientific innovation results in more equal countries. Read the book The Spirit Level by Richard Wilkinson.
While money is not a religion in the traditional sense, some scholars and philosophers have explored the idea that money can possess certain characteristics and functions that resemble religious beliefs and practices. Here are a few perspectives on the subject. 1. Belief system. Some argue that money can be seen as a belief system because it operates on a set of shared beliefs and values. People have faith in the value and utility of money, and they trust that it will be accepted in exchange for goods and services. Money, like religion, relies on a collective acceptance of its value and serves as a medium of social coordination. 2. Symbolic power. Money holds symbolic power in society. It represents wealth, status, and power. In this sense, money can be compared to religious symbols and rituals that convey meaning and signify certain values. Money, like religious symbols, can shape social interactions, influence behavior, and convey social identity. 3. Ritualistic behavior. Money transactions often involve ritualistic behaviors, such as exchanging money, making payments, or engaging in financial rituals like banking or investing. These repetitive actions can be compared to religious rituals, which involve prescribed actions with symbolic meanings. 4. Ethical framework. Some argue that money functions as an ethical framework in modern societies. It shapes individuals' behavior and decisions, guiding choices based on economic considerations. Money can influence moral judgments, priorities, and social interactions, similar to how religious principles shape ethical frameworks. Similar to religion, money is believed to have value, just like God and Jesus are believed to exist. The book Modern Money Mechanics admits that the only thing that gives fiat money value is confidence that you will be able to exchange the money for real goods and services. Money is a form of violence as it enforces poverty. There's not enough money for everyone to cover their debts, bills, and necessities to live.
The Zeitgeist movement is a social movement that advocates for a transition to a more sustainable and equitable society. It seeks to address various social problems through the application of scientific understanding and technological advancements. Here are some of the solutions proposed by the Zeitgeist movement. 1. Resource-based economy, RBE. The Zeitgeist movement promotes the idea of transitioning from a monetary-based market system to a resource-based economy. In an RBE, the focus is on the efficient allocation and utilization of Earth's resources to meet human needs and improve quality of life. It aims to replace the scarcity-based model of capitalism with a systems approach that considers the carrying capacity of the planet. 2. Sustainable resource management. The movement emphasizes the need for sustainable practices in resource extraction, production, and consumption. It advocates for renewable energy sources, waste reduction, recycling, and efficient design to minimize environmental impact. 3. Technological innovation. The Zeitgeist movement believes that technological advancements can greatly improve human well-being. It advocates for the responsible use and development of technologies such as automation, artificial intelligence, and clean energy. These innovations can enhance productivity, reduce labor requirements, and increase resource efficiency. 4. Access over ownership. The movement promotes the concept of shared access and collaborative consumption. It suggests that by sharing resources and using them more efficiently, society can reduce waste, lower costs, and enhance access to goods and services. Concepts such as the sharing economy, open-source software, and collaborative platforms are seen as enabling greater resource efficiency and equitable distribution. 5. Education and critical thinking. The Zeitgeist movement emphasizes the importance of education and critical thinking to address social problems. It advocates for a shift in educational systems towards holistic and interdisciplinary approaches that foster systems thinking, problem-solving, and sustainable values. 6. Social equality and well-being. The movement recognizes the need for social equality and the reduction of socioeconomic disparities. It advocates for universal access to basic needs such as food, water, shelter, healthcare, and education, as well as the promotion of social justice and human rights. These solutions proposed by the Zeitgeist movement aim to create a more sustainable, equitable, and technologically advanced society. The movement sees the application of scientific principles, critical thinking, and the use of advanced technologies as essential in addressing social and environmental challenges and improving the overall well-being of humanity.
Why am I a member of the Zeitgeist movement? When I watched the Zeitgeist documentary series for the first time, I can only describe as a religious or spiritual experience. The first religious experience I had was watching the ending sequence of Zeitgeist the movie with the quote, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." The second religious experience I had was when the Venus Project was introduced in Zeitgeist Addendum. The realization that this reality is connected everywhere all the time, meaning we are all one, meaning if we unify we could create a social system based on meeting the needs of everyone. The Venus Project presented a society without the cancerous, death-worshipping religions like Christianity, Scientology, Buddhism, which focus on what happens after you die. Such religions can only thrive in situations of poverty since religion promises a better life in heaven than the situation people are currently in. In the Venus Project's resource-based economy, it would be a society without the need for trading or money. Money is just more death worship, as the pollution and waste of natural resources, which are both due to cost-cutting and profit maximization, will only lead to more death and despair. Also, politics is just an outgrowth of the market, considering a corporation can buy the laws which are meant to manage or regulate the very market system. This means politics is just another business. My actions after becoming aware of these issues has been to create art for the Zeitgeist Media Project, print that art into flyers and pin up those flyers, and make videos like the one you are watching now to spread awareness of these issues. The Venus Project recognizes that our social problems, like poverty, violence, and pollution, are the result of us using the capitalist free market monetary social system. So the only way out of the market social system is to advocate a new social system, to change people's minds and values. If enough people want a better social system, based on science, abundance, technical efficiency, sustainability and peace, then the Zeitgeist movement will achieve its goal of meeting everyone's human needs. In this way, the Zeitgeist movement is a religion. As you feel a religious experience from advocating the movement's direction.
You see, the real value of a conflict, the true value, is in the debt that it creates. You control the debt, you control everything. You find this upsetting, yes? But this is the very essence of the banking industry. To make us all, whether we be nations or individuals, slaves to debt.
You can't call me money, but you can't escape from me. I take grace hatefully, enslave and make it fuck for me. And luckily, the species ain't seen my diseases. I'm flooding the streets with bodies that keep slacking me. You casually spin me as I deprive freedom and lives. As I push your future aside, you're divided, can't ask why. Your progress is nonsense, it's swamped with obsolescence in seconds. I take your best shit and wreck it. While you stress and caress me, I poison your cities. Left you degraded and clueless, disgracefully stupid, neurologically damaged, empathically savage, with habits as hazardous as Halliburton's habit. You can't avoid my madness as I ravage the planet. For useless consumerism, I'm abusing a system of associative thought patterns to eradicate plates of earth before you vacate the space for permanent work.
Money, drop your rights and surrender your resources. Your cultural and spiritual distinctiveness will be consumerized into our own. Resistance is futile, you will be consumerized. You will be consumerized.
I've globalized wasting, Earth's a wasting. A third the food made just gets thrown away. Like a third of humans that waste away hungrily, and other poverty that permanently follows y'all to veritably swallow y'all like a fat lady eating Mickey D's. You can teach people about me, but I cheat more frequently. You worship me and believe I promise you'll be prosperous, but I'm twice the fraudulent and posthumous life insurance. Completely deadly, psychopath on the warpath, wreaking suffering discreetly, pimping scarcity, no peace treaty can buffer me, and suddenly it's a race to extinction thanks to me, the demon. So get your face in position, embrace free missions. Since you embrace my religion, I'll Jim Jones your resistance. So long as your justice stays the split of resistance, dithering for little shit, ignorant of my malevolence.
Resistance is futile. You will be consumerized. Money, drop your rights and surrender your resources. Your cultural and spiritual distinctiveness will be consumerized into our own. Resistance is futile. You will be consumerized.
I am Zeitgeist. I am Zeitgeist.
It's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic, that's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants.
We say to people that say, well, they earned it. Now you go out and you're earning it.
If they earned it, then I think that that's good, and I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or $1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But, I mean, you got. You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't got don't mean he was bad. Or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million. And this person has nothing? And you can sleep? You can still go to the movies about, I mean, and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are. You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me.
Go to school, get job, earn money. Go to school, get job, earn money.
Hey, watch this. Hey, do you know what a resource-based economy is?
Science is communism. Science is communism.
No, a resource-based economy is about using technology to work smart, not hard, instead of working hard as a slave for money.
Must earn money to gain high social status. Those who don't have a real job must die.
It's not only material possessions that bring happiness, it's strategic access to goods and services instead of ownership of them, and healthy social relations between people that bring happiness.
Must buy products to fit in. Work smart, not hard. Doesn't compute. Doesn't compute.
Looks like he crashed.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal.
We have heard the rationales offered by the superpowers. We know who speaks for the nations, but who speaks for the human species? Who speaks for Earth?
I'm talking about the resource-based economy. The scientific method for social equality, where our technology allows for life in global abundance. And the choice between contender and incumbent is redundant.
Welcome to this pale blue dot in our galaxy, where we fear the finality of our own mortality, and we worry about our salary and consumption of calories, while famine and war have caused another fatality. We live in a finite world, but our need for growth is infinite. Our relationship with money is so damn intimate. We can't slow down, we want more, oh we're so into it. Intimate, it would be a sin to quit. So now the whole planet's in debt. We owe quite a tall stack, but it's literally impossible to pay it all back, because money is debt created with interest. You listening?
There's actually more money owed than exists in the whole system.
That's a pyramid scheme, not just mean individuals skimming the cream, not just smoke-filled rooms where the supremely powerful convene. It seems a systemic flaw is the theme to this meme. Today's system defines who wins and loses with competitions, and losers are created by definition. Our leaders are ruled by political ambition. Not a single one of them is a trained technician. It would be insane to listen to their claims. I'd rather use the scientific method to arrive at decisions. So pardon my sedition, but I stand by my derision, and I fight against this system with a thought for ammunition.
It's a train of thought. It's
It's a frame of sorts, a campaign where you can't just feign support. The train of thought can't be claimed or bought. It's an idea, there's no one you can blame in court. It's a train of thought, it's not a game or sport. It pertains to humane and sustained support. Like a chain is wrought, it can be trained and taught to anyone with a brain. Let me explain in short.
I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality. No political borders, no one giving you orders. It's the wealth worth giving to our sons and daughters. I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality. Take care of the planet and meet everybody's need. Make the world debt-free, just live and let be.
We can't control nature, we can only try to fit the mold. So instead of growth and jobs, let's set ourselves a new goal. A bold, high standard of living for the planet as a whole, in a sustainable way for every human soul, young and old. Let go of your borders, time to think worldwide. No more democracy and politics, all that's been tried. Instead, we use the scientific method as a guide to arrive at decisions on how technologies apply. And if we want to provide, we can't take a resource and abuse it. We need to keep track of what we have and how fast we use it. Systems theory tells us everything in nature's connected. When we cut down too many trees, the ecosystem is affected. So in production, it makes sense to build everything to last. Planned obsolescence should be a thing of the past. And if we design fast evolving technologies to be modular, we can replace old parts with the new and more popular. To distribute our goods, the shortest distance is preferred. To transfer from there what we can make here is absurd. Then we evaluate demand for goods and build hubs to receive them. Like a library where you check things out for as long as you need them. All of this is doable with today's technology, as long as we apply the right methodology. Cause scarcity is technically outdated, you follow me? This way we can live in abundance and global equality.
I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality, where technology allows a life in global abundance, and the choice between contender and incumbent is redundant. I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality. Become the transition is about damn time. The planet is shared by all of mankind.
Incentive is the key to understanding volition. We don't act without it, it's behind any decision. There's no human nature to behavior, just predisposition that has to be supported by the surrounding conditions. So the mission is one we should all agree to pick. No police, no prisons, no referee to trick. Build a system with no incentive for harmful behavior, cause if you remove the carrot, you don't need the stick. There would be nothing to gain from trying to mislead, mistreat or deceive. No incentive to thieve, what could you hope to achieve? Anything you need, you can get for free, and it would always be available, so no reason for greed. 10% of the population makes the system run, so instead of working 9 to 5, live your life for fun. Travel the world, raise a family, read a book, build something beautifully useful, or learn to cook. It's this generation's defining challenge, extraordinaire. It's not complicated, just a comprehensive affair. For some it's a big mouthful, for others a breath of fresh air. Don't be scared, cause it can be done, don't despair. Educate yourself on how the current system's impaired, but please do more than just make other people aware. When it comes down to it, we have two things to declare. One, we all care, and two, we all share
that train of thought. It's a frame of sorts, a campaign where you can't just feign support. The train of thought can't be claimed or bought. It's an idea, there's no one you can blame in court. It's a train of thought, it's not a game or sport. It pertains to humane and sustained support. Like a chain is wrought, it can't be trained and taught to anyone with a brain. Let me explain in short.
I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality. No political borders, no one giving you orders. It's a wealth worth giving to our sons and daughters. I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality. Take care of the planet and meet everybody's need. Make the world debt-free, just live and let be. I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality, where technology allows a life in global abundance, and the choice between contender and incumbent is redundant. I'm talking about the resource-based economy, the scientific method for social equality. Become the transition is about damn time. The planet is shared by all of mankind.
I wish I could say everything's just peachy. Living life is so easy, but it's not. generation has the fire of evolution in our veins. All we need is the right catalyst to put some fuel on our flame. Rise out of the ashes to find some hope again. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. No doubt there's something wrong with this picture. We draw our power from the spirit of the times. Zeitgeist. This is the dawning of a brave new world, and everything under the sun will be transformed when it's all said and done. Love will conquer Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. No doubt there's something wrong with this picture. We draw our power from the spirit of the times. Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist.
Hi, I'm a member of the Zeitgeist movement and I pin up flyers to spread awareness. Once I found one of my flyers covered in graffiti, which you can see. I'm not going to read it here, but you can pause this video in a moment to read it. But this video is in response to this sort of graffiti. On the subject of trading, I want to mention two statements that I really dislike. Money is obsolete. It is no longer relevant. This statement is only valid when referring to automation. At no point in history has trading or money been a valid practice, as this video will explain. So this statement is slightly misleading. The second statement is a lot more infuriating to me. The Federal Reserve and fiat currency is corrupt, but if we go back to honest barter and trading, society will be so much better. This is what I'd call delusional. The objective of this video is to explain how. First, a quote.
Competition is dangerous, socially offensive, considered right and normal because you are brought up to that value system.
When people dismiss the Zeitgeist movement, Venus Project concept, a global, open-source, sharing-based society, they say, something like this would only work on a small scale, as well as science is communism. Considering this dismissal, this video will explain how trading doesn't work on the small scale and therefore the large scale. So let's imagine we have a small group of people who generally have the same amount of property or wealth. These people are under the impression that trading their goods and services will prosper them. An advocate of trading might say, humans have always traded, always have, always will. So as they begin trading, we ask them what they think about this mode of social operation. And they say, I simply buy and sell to get my needs met, food, water, so I can live comfortably. This might be the general kind of answer that we get. But there's a phenomena which occurs in this kind of social atmosphere that wishes to be ignored by trading advocates. My suggestion why is because they suffer from the following condition, and they are in denial of it and wish to normalize it. Like a gambling addiction, a trading addiction occurs where people don't want to maintain equilibrium, and they want to gain more wealth for themselves. This is not a human nature, it's an addiction, and can also be slight brain damage, where you lack empathy for your fellow humans, so you're a better competitor. To be proud of this is disgusting. People who gain a lot of wealth have to keep claiming the lie, probably while they're doing vastly unequal exchanging. There's nothing wrong with trading. Our red friend here represents a social wealth addiction. It goes around to many people to trade with, and attempts to swindle more wealth into its hands by always getting the better end of the deal. This mathematical inevitability increases absolute poverty, people who don't have their basic needs met, and relative poverty, where healthy social interaction is lost and replaced by a trading addiction. As a metaphor, it's like a casino getting built at a peaceful town, and it corrupts the local social values, like pollution corrupts a stream.
It's all been arranged just for us to get your money.
In a cry of mental illness, with public health at an abysmal level, the people irrationally chant, "There's nothing wrong with trading." Yeah, sure. The science is in. The more a society is based on sharing instead of trading, the more equal it is, the healthier, and the less violent it is. This is not communist propaganda, it is the scientific reality. The skeptics are still welcome to keep saying that science is communism or Zeitgeist is a cult, but to me, that's a sign of automatic shallow responses designed to religiously defend the status quo. It's laughable that these defenses actually work. Anyway, please visit my Facebook to check out more of the activism I've done, and I hope you join the movement. And now, please stand for the Australian National Anthem.
Oh, the United States is really fucking great. Oh, the United States is the best fucking place. Oh, Mitt Romney rules. I'm glad he's president of the United States. It is the best fucking place.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No immigration too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if we can. No need for greed or hunger.
our brotherhood and sisterhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Zeit-TV. Behind the scenes. I want to let you, the viewer, know that the positive feedback regarding Zeit-TV is greatly appreciated. However, the most difficult part about producing this series has been getting copyright strikes on YouTube. I'm not going to name names, but I've been abused by people claiming to own the copyright on certain parts I've used for Zeit-TV. The reality is that copyright is a form of censorship and abuse. Copyright is a weapon which can be used by cults and corporations to intimidate or threaten. Copyright's place belongs in the unnatural and malicious monetary market society. It does not belong in an open source society or a natural law resource-based economy. Copyright does not exist in the natural world. If copyright did exist in the natural world, life would be impossible, as genes are always copied. The natural world is open source. This reality, whatever you want to call it, has already allowed any combination a human or an AI can come up with. So copyright is actually a form of plagiarism. You are plagiarizing God, or this reality, when you put something under copyright. There is no such thing as an original work. Some corporations have even attempted to copyright certain colors. It does not matter how hard someone works on an invention, a video, a song, a book, and so forth. It belongs to this reality, or God if you will. Nothing belongs to any human. Reality owns humans. This is the fact that the back-in-the-box speech at the start of the film Zeitgeist moving forward alludes to. If you are an artist, and you don't want your work pirated or stolen, then do not bother making any art in the first place. Because the nature of creativity and art and the nature of computers is to copy or steal. Intellectual property is one of the themes of George Orwell's 1984. In the story 1984, Winston Smith is tortured until he believes 2 + 2 makes 5, because the Ingsoc Party owns the rights to 2 + 2 makes 4. And his love for his girlfriend, Julia, is replaced with love for the Ingsoc Party and Big Brother. As love is also owned by Big Brother, there must only be love for Big Brother and the party. Hence the torture ministry is called the Ministry of Love. What I'm saying is I disagree with any form of top-down control over the Zeitgeist movement, and any control over Zeitgeist movement, or Venus Project-related information. Information, knowledge and the truth should be free. You are not a person who is for creativity, peace and love if you are for enforcing copyright strictly. They contradict each other. Legally, someone is within their right to enforce copyright over something they own, but morally they are bankrupt. A pro-copyright person or corporation is a pro-censorship, malicious, abusive, controlling bully and nothing more. So thank you for watching Zeit-TV. Despite the setbacks, I've enjoyed making this program so far, and will continue to do so in the future.